Hey, sport fans, welcome back. We're going to do another episode of Half Baked Sports. I'm Josh. I'm going to be your host today. I got my friends Chuck and Kendall, and we're going to discuss the head coaching changes that have happened recently. We're definitely looking forward to this next season if any of these things pan out. Although I am kind of excited, I think that the Redskins definitely need Ron Rivera as head coach. I like the fact that he went and got Jack Del Rio to be his defensive coordinator. And the latest, I don't know if it's official yet, but they were looking at Scott Turner, son of North Turner, to be their offensive coordinator. Now, Redskins, I know they stank it up this year, primarily due to the quarterbacking issue. I think that Ron Rivera will help solidify that defense, which will allow that offense to grow. Look, whether they keep Case Keenum or move on to somebody else or even pick up somebody in the draft, this is a team that is primed to make some moves. And let's go ahead and go, Chuck. What do you got on this? What's your take on this situation?
It's a good move by the Redskins. Now, whether it pans out or not is a whole different subject because Dan Snyder is known for meddling in football operations.
Just like Jerry Jones, we had that discussion earlier.
Al Davis and so on and so forth. Because we all know that Dwayne Haskins is Dan Snyder's pick.
Mm-hmm.
So whether Ron Rivera or not keeps him or not is a
well. I think Ron Rivera will default to whoever's offensive coordinator will end up being, whether it's Scott Turner or someone else. I think that they're going to be willing to work with whoever they have at this point. I mean, you got
to think about it. Cam is still going to be. He's going to become a free agent.
That's true, and they can. Ron Rivera.
I can go get Cam.
Yeah, Ron will be like, hey, come over. He's got the defense because look, people may not want to realize this or even admit it, but that Redskins defense was stout for the first half of almost every game. Now they had a tendency to get gassed and lose momentum, get fatigued, whatever you want to call it, primarily due to the fact that their offense couldn't sustain a drive. So, Kendall, what do you got on this?
So you guys do agree, definitely they do need help.
Sure. Oh, yeah, definely.
I totally agree with you guys. There's been a lot of coach shifting going on, a lot of hiring and firing, I could say as well. But, Redskins right now, they're going to need some help, along with Cowboys, and we can just keep going on and on.
Oh, yeah.
But it's probably going to be, bottom line is going to end up being the money ball. Hey, who's going to be doing the trading for that money? How much are they going to be worth is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, exactly. And, obviously, we're going to probably address this back again once we see the draft and some of the free agency changes this offseason. But on the surface, I definitely like this pickup, and I'm excited to see what kind of intensity they bring next year because NFC East, which we often refer to as the NFC least, right, because they do beat up on each other. Yeah, that's why you get these teams with a 7-9 or an 8-8 record taking the division. Yeah. That's been basically history for quite a few years now. But definitely like these picks. And let's go ahead and discuss the other one, which I know everybody's kind of going, what?
Which was
the Giants head coach choice. Don't get me wrong. I know we all admit Belichick is the mad genius, and his prodigies or his people tend to get looked at and picked up. Right now, Matt Patricia's the defensive coordinator of the Lions, sporting the Lions today. Luckily Matt Patricia's getting a chance to prove himself. Now, he came in, he didn't have any of his own personnel. He didn't get to decide to fire and hire who he wanted. But this year, they're cleaning house. Matt Patricia's the only one left, and he's going to be this is his year. And but unfortunately, he has not done well with the Lions as of yet. And so I don't know if necessarily picking people from the Belichick cloth are smart or bad. I guess you have to kind of take a look at their actual record and decide. But Joe Judge, head coach, Giants, was the special teams wide receiver coach, which is odd. Nothing taken away from the special teams. You're a Patriot fan. You can admit that's where a lot of times Patriots made their money this year, right, was the special teams. But the wide receiver coach aspect doesn't impress me this year. They did not do well.
There was no wide receiver core outside of one wide receiver. That's all you had.
Sanu? And it took him a while. Edelman. Well, is Edelman really considered a wide receiver though?
Yeah. Outside of Edelman, if you double team Edelman, and
Brady's put under pressure.
You double team Edelman, and you get a linebacker to man on the running back. That's it. That's the offense.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because
from the Patriot fan now.
N'Keal Harry was injured for most of the season. Then when he got here, he's a rookie, so he couldn't get open. You brought in Sanu. Sanu's trying to learn the offense.
Right.
Because it's a complicated offense. It's simple, but it's complicated. Outside of that, none of the Dorsett, who's been there for almost 2-3 years, couldn't get open. I'm trying to think of the other. Myers is a new rookie. It's basically it would have to actually 80% of the wide receivers are all rookies.
Well, and outside of the Edelman, Sanu, they did have Matt, or what was his name, Watson, Ben Watson.
Benjamin, he's a tight end.
He was a tight end. And then of course Fells maybe probably that may have been a different game, but yeah, you're right. I mean, this year the receiver core was diminished for Brady. He did not have his usual targets. I'm surprised that they actually won the number of games that they did, but then again, you can't because of how weak the NFC East is on occasion.
They won majority of their games off their defense.
True, and the special teams.
And the special teams. So the defense had a lot of turnovers that were pick sixes. So a lot of the games this year were accredited to the defense. So the wide receiver core was it wasn't there. Yeah. Period.
But still, I mean, to go after this guy, he's not even an offensive coordinator, not even a defensive coordinator. So I mean, to me, it almost looks like you're jumping a step here, people. But no, we don't need to spend too much time on this. I don't think. Do you want to chime in?
Chime in on that. You did say coming from New England.
Yeah, New England.
I think about the New England umbrella. Of course, that's your team. I'm not talking bad at all. But we've seen in the past, like perfect example, Bill O'Brien going to Texas. He was under that umbrella.
He was under that for a while. Yep.
And Garoppolo, even though he's not a head coach, but quarterback, look how he's turned the team around for San Francisco.
And that was a Belichick pick too.
Yeah.
So exactly, nothing against what Belichick knows talent, but the thing is that he's the mad genius that keeps the genius to himself.
Yeah,
and if you take a look, it shows. Josh McDaniels went to Denver, kind of flopped, came back. And that's why I brought up Matt Patricia earlier. He's struggling over there in Detroit. Now,
O'Brien struggled with the Texans.
And O'Brien has his...
Up and down wavelength. Last time they made the playoffs a couple years ago.
But you have to understand, the only reason O'Brien is still the head coach is because of Deshaun Watson. He had J.J. Watt and was still losing. It still had 8-8 seasons.
That's true.
He still had 8-8 seasons with Watt. So now he had Deshaun Watson. Now he's having 10. Now he's having winning.
Primarily because he's a scrambling quarterback and is able to make some of those plays. I mean, take a look. Had it not been for that Houdini move, they would not have won this game. Exactly. I mean, it would have been a sack. Close. They would have been back behind the 50 with less than 2 minutes left. I mean, things just open up perfectly for them. I see a different outcome on that game. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about, we already talked about the Giants. Let's go ahead and we'll discuss a little bit about the Panthers' pick of Matt Rule. He's the former head coach of Baylor. I don't not like it, but I would think that...
How many years?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. But, but Baylor did have some good moments this season, but they did lose to Oklahoma in that, and I think in the Big 12 championship. And I don't know. I mean, it's common for the NFL to go out to the college ranks and pick up new head coaches and other coaches. But to me, I've got some question marks about that one. I mean, with what was available out there, Panthers go and pick him up. I don't know. I don't have enough to chime in on this. Does anybody have anything that they're gonna
Let's see what happens.
That's me.
The main thing.
I do.
Did you?
So
okay, go ahead. Pipe in on this one.
Panthers with Ron Rivera leaving the Panthers in a decent position. He didn't leave them horribly off.
No, they have a solid defense. They have a solid running game with McCaffrey. I know that there's question marks with Cam Newton, but that backup Kyle Allen played well.
So my question is Jim Caldwell?
Well, yeah. Why not Jim Caldwell?
Schwartz.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz.
Hugh Jackson. Even if you want to go that deep,
Yeah.
There's a lot of head coaches out of South.
I think, unfortunately, with Hugh Jackson, he's got a little bit of a stigma because of the Browns.
Right,
I think he'll bounce back after serving as another coordinator with someone.
So even
But Todd Bowles, he's available.
Todd Bowles. Well, Bowles, he said he wasn't leaving Bruce Arians.
I think they want to build something over there in Tampa Bay.
Right.
So yeah, I wouldn't expect him to leave.
But Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan, and he's hungry. He was even willing to take that Cowboy job.
Right. There's too many coaches with proven records and proven defenses and offense. I mean, proven coaching styles. Then going to go get somebody from college. I mean, look, we're looking at the Cardinals right now.
Yep.
With the Kingsbury offense, we're looking at who else came from college. Even in the past with Saban.
Chip Kelly came in. Did a decent job getting the Philly back together.
Was it John? No, Jim Harbaugh came in for that brief moment of time. He did have success, but then
he went back to college.
Yeah.
Like,
well, his brother's still
maybe I understand that because when you got a college teams, you got players coming and going like every year.
Right.
You're going to have some core group of guys, but if they're good enough, they're going to be going to the draft in their junior, senior year. Mm-hmm. So every couple of years, you've got a new batch. So it's new. It's exciting. You don't know what's in front of you. You can get them pumped. But when you talk about the NFL league, even with the drafts, you always have the core senior veterans, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe he couldn't be innovative to keep them motivated because it did seem toward the end there that's what it was. It was motivation.
But there's a difference between motivating and inspiring a group of men, grown
men, true,
than it is people straight out of high school going off to college and staying in college for the next 3 or 4 years. They're still immature and doing all that stuff, so you're treating them like a child compared to this grown man that's on the same equal level as you.
Yeah.
That's
and in some cases making more money than
you. So how do you get that person how do you reel that person in? Especially if that person is the cornerstone of the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he leads the locker room, that's the guy that you want to find a way to get on your side and help motivate the rest of the locker room.
Because at the time,
but you're right. I mean, so with the Panthers, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. It might be a good fit. It might not be a good fit. But time will definitely tell on that one. And I know this is bringing us to the next topic: head coach change. All the talk on all the sport channels. Cowboys picking up Mike McCarthy, former head coach of the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to save my opinion and commentary for last. So we'll start over here with Kendall. What do you think?
Well, I'll go start off by asking you sports fans, what's the best thing out of Dallas, Texas? 45 South. My personal opinion on it, I mean, let's just look at it for what it is. They didn't have leadership on the team. They should be in the playoffs right now. They really should.
Well, their talent, I agree. They should be. Unfortunately, they did not play up to their talent, and just like any team that plays a subpar game, they're going home this postseason. So, to me, I don't want to make excuses for them, but I definitely think that they need to learn from their mistakes and find a way to find that internal motivation to play their A game every game. Chuck, what do you got?
100% agree they need a leadership. Mike McCarthy is not a leadership. Even in Green Bay, he was not leadership because the players were rallying around Aaron Rodgers, or before that, Brett Favre. You didn't hear Mike McCarthy's name that much.
No.
Even as an offensive coordinator, you weren't hearing his name that much. You were hearing Brett Favre, then Aaron Rodgers. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what the team rallied around. When either one of these were out,
there was no rally.
There was no rally because you were losing games at that point.
Right.
So until you got that dude, until you got him back, because even when Aaron Rodgers had that collarbone injury, he had that backup.
Whitehead, wasn't it?
Huntley. He won a couple of games, but after a couple of film on him, done. Yep. Offense shut down. So then I think Elisa got injured or something like that. Either way. Once the quarterback, that star quarterback, because think about it, Mike McCarthy only had elite talent at quarterback. Right. He's never had a Dak Prescott.
Let's not forget the talent that he had at wide receiver, tight end, and running back.
Exactly.
That's true.
So he's never had a Dak Prescott who needs to grow, who needs to be who I need to tell make better decisions.
Yeah.
See, there's a
It
difference.
seems like he's just been a player lately. He said, "Hey, let me be the quarterback. Let me be the player." Instead of having that leadership, "Hey team, let me go ahead and show up and show out for our team and let's make this happen." I haven't seen him do it.
I just don't see Mike McCarthy.
He just steps out. Hey, let me just.
I just don't see Mike McCarthy leading the team like a Belichick or Sean Payton or Ron Rivera or any of these coaches. I don't see him saying, "Hey, we need to make this play." Because I don't see him doing that. I just see him. I'm putting the play calling in, and then let's say Dak does it. Then it's your play calling.
Right.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I like the pick. You're right about the leadership, but I think that there's enough captains in there. You know, Dak is stepped up, even though he has room for improvement. I think that with McCarthy's design plays, that'll be beneficial for them. They'll be able to use Amari Cooper better. Hopefully, they can pick up some people because, as we've all agreed, Cowboys are missing Beasley. Beasley was a fly under the radar when everybody else was covered. He got it in that center. So I think with McCarthy coming in at head coach, I think that'll be a good fit. It'll depend on who he brings in for the offensive coordinator position, because as we've all agreed, head coaches seem to cause problems in their organization when they take on too many duties, especially when that includes the offensive coordinator position. Head coaches need to concentrate on being head coaches.
Yeah.
So if he can, and I think that he would be good for Dak. I think that he would help Dak improve. Dak is a leader, and I think that if they get going next year, that could definitely not only improve Dak, but get them on the right trail that maybe Jerry Jones wants to see.
I will have to 100% disagree. Dak is not a leader. Dak is not a leader. It's not cowboy hate. It's proven. He's not a leader. He's not a rally. He's not a rally type of person.
He just wants to play.
He's a talented quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I'm not questioning his game.
Okay,
I'm
and that's all.
Leadership going like that. That's why they lost. That's why they lost and came
and if you pay attention, I didn't say he was a leader now. I'm saying that with improvement, he can.
He can.
I still don't see it because
and that's fine.
He's just.
But I think that the potential is still there. That's my take.
Right.
So to end this out. The other note to talk about the Cowboys is the Mike Nolan is being considered for the defensive coordinator in the Cowboys. Most people who don't know, Mike Nolan is the current linebacker coach for the Saints. Definitely not a bad pick. I think that would improve their defensive core.
Yeah.
Take a look at what the linebackers have done in the last 3 years for the Saints, and he's a key component. Now, as far as offensive coordinator goes, I haven't heard anything. But definitely McCarthy would need one to at least assist him because, we already stated the head coaching position needs to be a head coach. But no, I get you. We all see the tendencies of Dak, and of course this whole thing with asking for money, that may play a factor into whether or not he becomes a leader next year too anyway. But I do want to move on to the next few topics. Just in passing, I heard that the Browns are interviewing Jim Schwartz, who is currently, offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator?
Defensive coordinator for Philadelphia.
And that's actually a really good pick for them because if you take a look at what he did in Detroit, he helped turn that organization around. He was the one that they hired right after they went 0-16.
Yep.
Within 3 years, they were 8-8 and made a playoff. Or was it 9-7? I forget. Either way, they made a playoff.
Made a turnaround.
Yeah, and of course, the other good side note, Rams have parted ways with Wade Phillips. This is only after 3 years, and everybody I've talked to says the same thing about Wade Phillips. He's good for about 3 to 4 years. So I guess what's his name, Sean McVay, is taking a page out of Belichick's. So I'm gonna let you go a year too early rather than a year too late. So, but no, those are the coaching changes that we have currently, and of course, we'll try to keep you updated on anything that comes up between now and, of course, at the end of the season here.
Shifting.
Yeah, a lot of stuff moving around, a lot of stuff, and it's going to make next season a little bit more harder to predict with these moves. A lot of question marks. So, gentlemen, any topics you want to bring before we close this out today?
Playoff picture?
Playoff picture. Currently, we have Minnesota Vikings heading to San Francisco. That's your team. Who do you got?
I'm gonna stick with my Niners. Minnesota actually stepped up that game here was that Sunday, right?
Yeah, that was a good game.
A lot of people saw it maybe happening, didn't see it happen. Depends on the fan base and everyone. I didn't see them going there, but I mean, heck, if they keep their defense alive, they may have a chance. But hey, I'm still gonna root for my Niners.
Minnesota. I'm got Minnesota going all the way.
All the way to the Super Bowl.
Well, to the conference anyway.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they win this, they would be in the conference championship.
Actually, the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, you think they're going to beat whoever they face next?
Yeah,
because obviously it would be the winner of the Green Bay Seattle game.
Yeah. Because when they beat 49ers.
Oh, wow.
when they beat the 49ers, think about it. They got Seattle and Green Bay. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're a lesser of a team than 49ers.
Well, they're they're definitely banged up.
Right.
Yeah. Both teams. So I'm leaning toward the home team. They've had a week to rest and hopefully get healthy. Both defenses on these teams. Minnesota played a great game against the Saints. I'm not going to take anything away from them. I do expect them to put up a fight. I don't expect them to go down quietly. This is not going to be an easy game for the Niners, but I am leaning toward the Niners. Something to keep an eye out for. The key to them, Minnesota winning this, would be that running game. If they get that running game going against that stout defense of the 49ers, and we already know that passing game is equally a threat, especially if Richard Sherman's not healthy enough to play that corner position. So something to look forward to. Next game would be the Seattle and Green Bay. Personally, only because I have not seen a very good consistency out of Green Bay, I am leaning toward the Seattle Seahawks taking this upset. Now, weather could be a factor, and if it is, I still go with Seattle. So, Chuck, what do you got?
I got Seattle. I don't see Green Bay winning that one. Seattle's defense is up and running. They stopped the run, and that means they're going to commit to the run. So that means Aaron Rodgers has to throw to his only receiver, which is Devontae Adams.
And if it's in bad weather, that could, fumbles, turnovers, missed passes, that could spell a disaster for them. Exactly. If it comes down to that, I trust Seattle's run game, even though it's Marshawn Lynch. And, of course, Russell Wilson. We know that he can be a mobile quarterback. I trust them over the Green Bay. But that Green Bay defense is going to be, I expect a low-scoring game in this one, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
And ladies. What do you got?
I totally agree with both of you. I'm going for Seattle all the way. They just need to watch it a little bit. But, I mean, both teams definitely want it. But I'll go ahead and go with Seattle. Yeah,
I think they're both hungry. It's gonna be an interesting one. All right, so that brings us to the AFC. First one to mention, Titans at Baltimore. Tough one to call. However, if the Titans play like they did in New England with that defense and that run game, obviously they're going to have to do exactly what they did in New England. They're going to have to run the ball effectively. They're going to have to monopolize the game time, keep Lamar Jackson on the sidelines. That's going to be tough to do against that Baltimore defense. What do you got?
I guess this where it says this is what separates the men from the boys. Titans really did put up a show here last weekend, and if they keep that up like that, I mean, Baltimore's #1 this season, with the most wins. And
but as we've seen, that could change next year.
Yeah,
that could definitely change.
I'm going with the Titans. I'm going for the whole upset. Tannehill's been playing like Breeze-like. He's making smarter decisions. He's showing why he was the first round draft.
Yards per pass, yards per play on the Titans has been somewhere around the 6 and 7 yard realm. It is uncanny.
He knows when to throw, check it down. He's not picky about. He's not looking for the home runner. He's looking for the check down. He's looking for all his open possibilities. He's even they've got the run game going. Between
Derrick Henry.
Between Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis.
Yep.
So if the offense steps up, it keeps playing like it is playing, and the defense can hold Ingram. What's his first name? Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson, make Lamar Jackson throw.
And as a note,
Make
I
him
saw
throw.
that Ingram is suffering from a little bit of a calf injury, something about tightening up on him, or maybe a sprain or something.
Right.
So he may not be full, 100% going into this game. That could be a factor. Although I have to admit, though, Lamar Jackson, every time they do those design QB rushes, guaranteed 4 or 5 yards each time. And so they will have to spy Lamar every play.
They can stack the box. If they stack the box, Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram are the same, like Ezekiel.
Well, and I agree.
Yeah.
Though my only concern is like that sweep that Josh Allen did, on the sides.
Right.
That's where Lamar's going to hurt him.
Right. But he's not a fast. He's a power back. He's more of a power back. He's not elusive, and he's a power back. He's not elusive, and he doesn't have the speed to outrun some of those.
I don't know. I've seen Lamar do some pretty fast things and
No.
slick
I'm
things.
talking about Mark Ingram, the
running back.
running back.
True. All right. So last but definitely not least, and I know one that we want to see is Houston fans, or at least even half fair weather Houston fans.
Yeah.
Texans going up to Kansas City. This is a big one.
That's huge.
I like the matchup. We have two very mobile quarterbacks. The only thing that separates them is the consistency on the KC side. I mean, when you take a look, Kansas City's got a more complete team, and they play consistently. I don't like how Texans are up and down. Plus, I didn't even do the math. I know John pointed out a few weeks ago about how they would lose one, win two.
Yeah.
So where are we? Do we even know where we're at on that?
They won against.
They lost their last game in week 17,
and they just won two.
No. So they won the one. So they're due to win this one if the pattern holds up. So, but then that means they're doomed to lose the most popular and more important.
Well, does it count because they sat the starters?
Yeah, it still counts.
It still counts.
I don't know. A stupid stat that somebody pointed out, which was really ironic. So
Yeah.
but no, as I was saying, I like the way they match up. Both mobile quarterbacks are definitely the defense is going to have to do their best to contain. And honestly, they need to look at maybe following the Titans' lead on this.
Yeah. Well, they don't have the same defense. Like the Titans have two corners and safeties. Texas don't got that.
No.
So, yeah.
But maybe with some good man coverage, they can limit Mahomes. But I don't know. This is going to be a battle, and I would not be surprised if this turns into a sling fist.Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
be because you have to think about it.
Two
The
mobile
top
quarterbacks.
corner on the Texans is Jonathan Joseph. And he's 37, 36 or 37.
So you're saying he's old?
He's beyond. He should have. They should have been let him go.
He might be younger, but we're not, so it's all good. But no, so it's that one I'm looking forward to, and unfortunately with two potential quarterbacks airing it out, it could be a shootout or it could be a blowout, and we know what Kansas City did to the Texans last time. So we're gonna leave you with that, and as a last option, I'm gonna leave with one of you guys to come.
Kansas City won. Texans won.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking 2 years ago because there was a blowout a few years
ago.
ago.
Texans beat Kansas City this year.
Yeah.
Was it this year?
No, they didn't.
Yes, it did.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
it was
revenge.
It was in Kansas City. It was in Kansas City, yeah.
Well, you know what that means. You can't beat the same team twice. Anyway, last minute options for you guys. You want to bring up any last minute topics?
I got nothing. Not nothing pressing anyway. Well, I'm sorry. Cam Newton. Once again, Cam Newton to the Patriots.
Hey, you know what? This off season, we may even go out and buy T-shirts with the number
or Teddy Bridgewater. One of the two. I'll take them.
Divisional round weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Conference championships coming up next weekend. Let's just get through this weekend, see what happens.
Yeah, and we will be commentating either Sunday night or Tuesday on this week's matchups. So definitely stay tuned for that. And we're looking forward to covering this through the championships and the Super Bowl. We will not be covering at all
the Pro Bowl.
The Pro Bowl.
It's a waste of time.
Waste of time for everybody. Nobody cares.
Yes, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And John, sorry we couldn't get you in on this. We understand work has priority, but
Yeah,
Dang
we
it.
miss you, man.
We miss you.
They
We
miss
keep
you. They
you in
miss you.
spirits.
They miss you.
Well, you make these more exciting sometimes. So hopefully we can get him involved in the next one, and we'll be seeing you next Sunday or Tuesday, one of the two. We're out.